everybody? Welcome back to another trout fishing tips video here at the channel. Today's video is going to be all about scents, and in particular, we're going to talk about the top 5 trout fishing scents for the springtime to help you catch more trout when you hit the water. Now, when we talk about fishing, we talk about the 3 S's in fishing, which are sight, scent, and sound. And scent plays a critical role in enabling you to get that bite, especially on finicky days of trout fishing, to help you get some extra hookups or just stand out from the crowd and have the right scent at the right time to get the big bites that you're looking for. And the first trout fishing scent for spring trout fishing that I like is going to be Nightcrawler scent. Now, Nightcrawlers is a bait that I really like in the summertime, especially when it's warm. But in the springtime, as the weather starts to warm up and we get more sunny days and that sun is at its peak and the water is warming up, Nightcrawler scent is a go-to in that midday to late afternoon when it's the most warm part of the day and the water is really starting to warm up. Now, running worms is not something in particular that I do a ton in the early springtime, but in the late springtime, as the water does start to warm up, I start running more Nightcrawlers and worms as a go-to bait for trout fishing. I do like to run these Berkley Gulp Nightcrawlers with Nightcrawler scent, as well as I've got Yakima bait and Procure Rooster Tail scent here that you can spray on plugs and power bait that's a garlic Nightcrawler scent. And I really like both of these in the midday and late afternoon, especially in the sunny and warm parts of the day. So if you're struggling on the day for a bite, grab some Nightcrawler scent, get it on there, and fling your gear back out, and I guarantee you're gonna start to get a few hookups in that late afternoon time frame when the trout are super finicky. Now, my number 4 scent for spring trout fishing is gonna be Anise. And over the last couple years, I fell in love with Anise as a scent for trout fishing. Now, when I go out salmon fishing with friends, we use Anise a lot when we're chasing Chinook and fall coho. But Anise is something new that I never thought of to use for trout fishing until a couple years ago. Now, I've had a lot of success with the Anise Procure gels as well as the Berkley Power Bait scents using Anise, which is something new that came out in 2020 that I've been using a lot that's been really successful. Now, in the spring, I run Anise in all times of the day, but in particular, I like it in the late afternoon and going into the evening time frame. And there's been a few instances early in the morning where Anise has been the one scent that's gotten a lot of bites before the water starts to warm up and the sun gets over the trees and onto the water. So if Anise isn't a scent that you're fishing a lot in the springtime, consider giving it a try. Grab some gel, grab some Anise seed scented power bait and start fishing these, and I think you're gonna start to see your hookup ratio increase, especially in the late afternoon time frame when we know trout can be super finicky. So give it a try and get fishing. Now, coming into my number 3 scent, this is one that I used a ton as a kid no matter where we fished, and that was gonna be cheese. You can use cheese at all times of the day, but I really like it in the early morning time frame and in the late afternoon time frame. And in that late afternoon time frame, I like to tip my cheese with a little garlic scent. So you got a little cheese garlic combo. And especially when trout are a little bit more finicky in that afternoon time frame, that cheese garlic combo can be deadly. So make sure you got some cheese in your tackle box. I've got Gulp chunky cheese here, and I've got just regular power bait cheese. And I also really like these for spring and summer trout fishing to have a little bit more of a natural color and something that the trout are gonna go after. So make sure you're loaded up on cheese and ready to go, because when it comes to spring trout fishing, cheese scent, it's gonna be success. Now, coming into my number 2 spring trout fishing scent is gonna be stinky garlic. Now, of all the power baits and all the scents that I've got in my tackle box, I probably have more that have garlic scent than anything else. Now, I just love to have a variety of garlic gels, sprays, and power baits ready to go for spring trout fishing. But I really like garlic in the mid-morning time frame all the way up until sunset. For me, garlic is the most potent spring trout fishing scent when that sun is hitting the water and the water is warming up. So the early part of the morning, I don't necessarily run garlic a ton. I'm waiting for that water to warm up, let all that sunlight hit the area that I'm in, and let that water warm up and start throwing garlic out there. And some days it only takes that sunlight just hitting the water and warming up a couple of places to get the fish more active. Throwing some garlic scent out there could be the key for some really epic trout fishing. And my number one scent for spring trout fishing is corn. Now, corn is a scent that you can run at all times of the day, but in particular, and especially at a place in a body of water that's just recently been stocked with trout, run corn as the first scent and bait that you've got. Stock trout love corn and corn scent, so before you head out to the water, research to see if the place that you're fishing has recently been stocked with trout, and make sure you got a lot of corn scented baits with you. Now, what I've got here is corn scented power bait, as well as my own corn scented bait that I made for spring trout fishing. And as I've talked about on the channel before, stock trout are fed cornmeal based food when they're at the fish hatcheries before they're transplanted and stocked. So in the springtime, when places are getting stocked and stocked frequently with trout, make sure you got corn scent and corn scent baits with you to have some really epic days out on the water. And trust me, there's been days where I've gone through a whole jar of corn power bait because that's all I've run, because that's all the fish wanted. And that's my top 5 spring trout fishing scents. I hope you guys got some tips and some information out of today's video. And just remember that scent plays an important role in spring trout fishing to get those finicky trout to bite in the early morning, and especially in the late afternoon time frame as the water's starting to warm up. Make sure you got a variety of scents and these top 5 scents to help you catch more trout when you hit the water. So hit that like button, guys. Subscribe if you love trout fishing tips, and other outdoor content. And as always, guys, the outdoors is a gift. Share it with others.